Welcome to my Omega Protocol Ultimate Guide series. In this video we tackle Phase 2, which include the famous Omega M and Omega F. This phase has two major mechanics, and without further ado, let's dive into them. After meeting the DPS check in Phase 1, Omega will disappear, and about 3 seconds later, Omega M appears on the west side of the arena, and Omega F from the east side. You will have to assign light parties formed with 2 DPS, 1 healer, and 1 tank to each boss, since Omega M and F will start casting Firewall. Firewall picks the 4 closest targets to them and gives them a debuff that prevents them from attacking the other boss, so be sure to be close to your assigned side when they appear. Shortly after, Omega M and F will start casting Solar Ray, a heavy hitting tank buster. Mitigate accordingly. Once the tank buster is over, the bosses will start casting Party Synergy, which is the first big mechanic of this phase. As I explain the events of this trio for the first time, I will play it in slow motion. As soon as the Party Synergy cast is over, each player will be assigned with a PlayStation marker, which they will need to remember. The 2 players with the same PlayStation marker will be partners for the mechanic, and will need to be away from each other when instances of damage happen. At the same time as the PlayStation markers appear, everyone will get the same debuff, either Remote Glitch, which indicates that partnered players will take increased damage if they are too close to each other, or Mid Glitch, which indicates that partnered players will take increased damage if they are too close or too far from each other. Shortly after, clones of Omega M and F will appear on the arena. Among these clones, only the male that isn't in the middle of the arena and the female that is looking at that male will be active, and they can each cast 2 different AoEs. If Omega M only has his sword out, he will cast a point blank AoE, but if he also has his shield out, he will cast a donut shaped AoE instead. If Omega F only has her staff out, she will cast a plus shape AoE, but if she also has blades on her feet, she will cast an AoE on each of her sides. You will need to dodge the combination of weapons from M and F accordingly. While you dodge the AoEs, pay attention to the eye that spawn on the outside of the arena, as it will be treated as the new north. The eye will do a cleave through the middle of the arena, and at the same time, each player will be targeted by an optimized Fire 3. Players will have to spread out while satisfying their Mid Glitch or Remote Glitch debuff. Once the Fire 4s are over, 5 Omega Ms will appear at a cardinal or intercardinal location, as well as a female in the very center. The female will cast a knockback, while all males will cast point blank AoEs. Stack markers will be assigned to 2 random players, and you will have to get knocked into a safe area to dodge those AoEs. Now that's a lot going on, and here is how to solve it. Start with your 8 players lined up from left to right. Identify which debuff the party gets, either Mid Glitch or Remote Glitch, and remember it. When PlayStation markers go out, identify and remember your shape. If you are the leftmost player with a given shape, you will be in the left group, and if you are the rightmost player with a given shape, you will be in the right group. Duplicates can happen in a light party, so you might have to flex. Once the M and F clones that are looking at each other appear, identify their weapons and dodge accordingly. Here is a POV of all 4 combinations at full speed. While you are dodging the M and F AoEs, find the eye around the arena and treat it as your new north. If the debuff was Remote Glitch, the tethers will need to be crossed, as this diagram displays. If the debuff was Mid Glitch, the partnered players will need to be in front of each other, not too far, not too close, as the diagram displays. The distance is finicky, and our group had to adjust markers so that we could simply line up with the markers. Here is a picture of what our markers look like in Phase 1, if you also wanted to do that. Once the fires are taken care of, identify the side of the arena with 3 adjacent Omega Ms, and treat it as your north. The way we handle the knockback has the right side group flexing. If it's Mid Glitch, the right side group gets knocked south, and if it's remote glitch, they get knocked east. For the left group, they always get knocked west. The final note regarding this mechanic is that the stack can appear on two players from the same side. If that is the case, one player will have to call which shape will be flexing to have one stack in each group. Once the party synergy mechanic is over, the two bosses will be targetable again, and the tanks must center them. Omega M will cast Synthetic Shield, which will initiate the Limitless Synergy mechanic. Omega M will protect Omega F with his shield. During this time, all 8 members of the party will be able to hit Omega M, but not Omega F. Clones of the bosses will appear on the outside. 2 clones will start doing Blade Dance, a tether type tank buster that needs to be taken away from the group, clockwise of its origin. Another clone will start casting Sagittarius Arrow, a baited line AoE. The Blade Dances and the Sagittarius Arrow will go off at the exact same time. Meanwhile, the remaining Omega M clone will prepare his shield and will cast Beyond Defense, a dash mechanic where he picks a random target close to him to dash to, followed by Pile Pitch, a stack mechanic that works the same way. Not everyone will be able to stack, as Omega F will pick 3 random players for meteors, which needs to be taken away from the Omega M clone and away from the group. Here's how to handle this mechanic. Before Omega M recenters, the party needs to be baiting the Sagittarius Arrow. Our group baits southwest. 5 clones will appear on the sides of the arena. The 2 adds that cast the Blade Dance tethers will always be opposite of each other. As the group baits, the tanks go out to grab their tether, one covering from north clockwise, one covering from northwest counterclockwise, and bring their respective tether clockwise of where their ad is. Meanwhile, the party dodges the Sagittarius Arrow, and if the tanks have positioned properly, they will be able to dodge the Blade Dance cleaves. As the party dodges, try to find the Omega M with the shield, and spread out around the center while looking at him. 3 players will be picked randomly with flares and need to fan out to the edge, away from the shield mail. The remaining 5 players spread around the center. One of the closest spread around players will get dashed to, and the remaining 4 will need to chase after the shield mail while the person that got hit goes away from the shield mail through the boss. Here is a full POV of this phase at full speed. Once that mechanic is over, Omega M needs to die for Omega F to be targetable. Once Mel dies, burst down Omega F before she finishes the Enrage cast, and move on to the phase transition. During the phase transition, the center of the arena will become an AoE that pulses constantly, growing in size. Make sure to handle the mechanics coming up while constantly dodging them. 4 players will be picked by Sniper Cannon, a purple debuff that will result in an AoE when the effect expires and needs to be taken solo. 2 players will be picked by High-Powered Sniper Cannon, a white debuff that will result in an AoE that needs to be shared. Luckily enough, the remaining 2 players do not have a debuff and will be able to stack with them. While you will have to find safe spots to resolve your debuffs, a set of 3 arms will spawn, followed shortly after by another set of 3. These arms explode in the order they spawn in, which forces the players into a dance to dodge the shockwaves and the arms exploding at the same time. To solve this mechanic, spread out in light parties while waiting for the debuff assignment. Once you receive your debuff, send your heavy snipers and your no debuff players to the north side of the arena, and your snipers to the south side. Pay attention to the debuffs of your light party members. If 3 members of the same light party gather to a location, it means one needs to flex depending on the debuffs you have. If you are one of the players that spread north because you have either no debuff or the white debuff, make sure to double check that your partner has a different debuff than you. Once everyone is in position, observe which arms spawn first. Depending if the north arm or the south arm spawns first, the spreads will look slightly different. Once the first set of arms explode, the players that were in the safe areas from the first AoE will have to spread out into the next set of safe spots. Here's what the dodge should look like. And that's it for Phase 2. Once again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this series, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon for Phase 3.